Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I am the host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father, with my special co-host, Jessica Presley. We have an awesome interview scheduled right now for you guys. We have Mike Martin, the guitarist from All That Remains. You guys are going to dig this interview, and I'm going to let Jessica take off with this. But first, Mike, how you doing, my man?
I'm great. How are you doing? Besides the stomach virus.
Oh my God. Yeah, I would rather be beaten or something.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I'm going to hand it over to Jessica. She has some awesome questions for you, and then I'm going to jump in after that. So, Jessica, take it away.
All right. Well, my first question, what inspired you guys to write this new album?
That's
anything kind of stick out?
No, it's a funny question nowadays because we've been doing this for a living for over 10 years, so it's like nothing ever happens and we say like, oh, we got to go write an album. You go on tour for 2 years and then you come home and the next logical step is to write an album. So you just get home and you do it. It's never like sparked by any events. It's just like, okay, once you get home, it's like
kind of right.
It's just what you do.
I can understand that. So there's no songs that like really stick out for you guys. Like I know your single is hitting pretty hard, Stand Up. I love it. I've been a big fan of you guys for a while now, and when the new album came out, I was excited. I know apparently there's no reason for it, but I love it. So is there any songs on there that you guys just really enjoy playing? Any of them that you guys had trouble writing, or had a great time writing and working out, or any of them that are your favorites?
We got five pretty different personalities in the band, so all the songs are very hard to write. It's never that smooth of a process. It's always kind of a hassle, but it gets done eventually. But the album's still relatively new, so we're not playing a ton of the songs off the new album in the set because when an album's new like that, you don't really play too many new songs, and it kind of kills the vibe. people want to hear a mixture of old and new. So right now we're only playing 2 or 3 new ones live, but so far, Down Through the Ages is really fun to play live, and because Stand Up was our first #1 single on active rock radio, so that's becoming more fun to play live now, just because people have latched onto
it, and they recognize it and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's always more fun to play the songs when people react. When you're playing new songs, it's fun for the band because it's like fresh stuff and it's not as boring as the other stuff, but it's also nice to see people react and stuff like that,
Definitely. Well, I'm a big fan. Appreciate everything you guys do, and I really do love this new album. I'm pushing it on my friends, and because they're still stuck on For We Are Many, which is amazing, but I'm trying to push them on the new one.
I appreciate like a walking road crew for us.
I mean, I do. I love you guys, but thanks so much for answering my questions. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
All right, Jessica, do you have any more questions for Mike?
No, I'm good to go. He answered them. Thank you.
That's my new co-host. That's my new co-host, Jessica Presley, and we're trying to break her in good here. Pretty good questions as normal. Mike, back to you guys in this new album. What would you say is different with this album compared to the other albums? I mean, do you see yourselves growing as writing the material now, or?
I don't think there's a lot different. As we get older, we know what we want more, so we kind of go in. I don't know. Everything seems a little bit more clear when we're starting off. As a previous album, you kind of the songs are going in so many different directions. Sometimes it's hard to get everything to become like one cohesive thing. But as we get older, I think the songwriting gets a little bit more mature. We cut off a little bit of the fat, which makes some people mad and pleases other people. So when you have a 3.5-minute radio song, on one hand it goes #1 on the radio, and people all over the country are really psyched about it. But then you got your elitist metal kids who are into like those 7-minute epic, Master of Puppets kind of Metallica songs, and they get pissed off at you because you're not putting enough parts in the songs, and it's not technical enough, and there's not enough screaming, and blah blah blah. So we just continue to just do whatever we want as far as whatever direction a song is going in. We just go with it, and whatever feels right, and whatever we like, and try not to worry too much about pleasing everybody because you never can.
Exactly, and you're right, man. You can make a 3 to 4 minute song and still have the same effectiveness as you can a 7-minute song.
Jason gave me a nerd rope. I'm obsessed with these nerd rope candies.
But as I was saying, I mean, you could still write a 3-minute song and have the same effectiveness and power to it as a 7-minute song.
Yeah, and there's a lot of there's a lot involved to that, which people don't understand, Just because it's 3.5 minutes doesn't mean you're like, a lot of people just go, oh, it's not a long technical song, so they just slapped it together so they can make money. It's a lot more involved than that. The short, simple songs for us are the hardest ones for us to write. We can go and write 7.5-minute songs and slap 1 million different metal parts together. That's easy for us. We've done that on the first, 3 records. It's harder for us to write a pop/metal song, if you want to go as far to call it that.
Yeah. Since you've been with the band from 2004 to the present, have you seen a lot of progression with the band?
I've been in the band since 2002, actually, and
okay.
Yeah, I've seen a ton of progression as far as what everyone was setting out to do in the beginning and what everyone's setting out to do now. The mindset's a lot different. Mm-hmm. We've learned a lot over the years by a lot of it's trial and error, and a lot of some of it's luck, some of it's trial and error, and some of it's us maybe knowing a little bit of what we're doing, but we don't give ourselves too much credit.
Well, I definitely love the music. I mean, honestly, my favorite song by you guys is 2 Weeks, and that's off the Overcome album. That's always been our biggest song, and I think it always will be. That song, for some reason, just really clicked with everybody. Yeah. But it's good that you have music that clicks with people. I mean, have you ever had anybody come up to you guys and say, hey, look, you guys helped me out through a bad time in my life, and your music really helped me?
That's happened tons of times, and it never, it never gets old. To have somebody who's had some serious stuff, people come up and, I've had cancer, and, your music helps us and stuff like that. So it's stuff like that you can't take for granted. It makes you realize how lucky you are,
Yeah, exactly. How do you feel, Mike, when you're hearing the fans sing your guys' music?
That never gets old, too, especially in certain situations. Like, we just got back from Japan, and when you're playing shows for kids that don't speak English and they're still singing the words, it's pretty unbelievable. So, I don't know. Stuff like that never gets old. And when you see a crowd react like that, you can't really grow numb to it. And if you do grow numb to it, there's something wrong with you.
Exactly. I totally agree.
Yeah, it's just great.
Are there any songs that you guys left off this new album that possibly could be on a newer one on down the road, possibly?
There was 2 other songs that we wrote. One of them went to, I think one of them went to, like, Best Buy. So, I think if you bought the CD at Best Buy, there was an extra song on it. And then one of them went to Japan. So, if you get a Japanese version of the CD, you get an extra song, too. So, it's like, it's kind of hard. We actually got copies of them when we were in Japan last week, which was kind of cool because I've never gotten one with Japanese writing on it. But I did notice there was 1 extra song on it. So, there was 2 extras. And I'm sure one of these days they'll just leak on the internet like they always do. So I'm sure everyone's going to hear them eventually.
Yeah, they'll put it on YouTube or something.
Yeah, I mean, they always end up on there.
How does All That Remains write your music? Does everybody contribute, or do you have just one writer? How does it happen?
Yeah, it's a very collective thing. Ollie's definitely the main, part guy. He comes in with the most, as far as, actual, musical parts goes. He always comes in with the most stuff. He's a writing machine, so he kind of comes in with the most material initially, and then everybody collectively pulls it apart and puts it back together and throws their own little twist on everything. So songs definitely don't get finished until all of us are in the same room.
Mm-hmm. And let's talk about, how did you get started into music, Mike?
When I was 8, I just got really attached to MTV when I was 8 years old, back when they still played music, and my dad had a guitar laying around the house always, and I used to see Bon Jovi videos and Poison videos and Guns N' Roses. I used to just want to play, and I was like, wow, I want to do that. So I went through the guitar phase for a little bit, then I went to the I want to be an athlete phase for a little bit, and then I realized how hard that was, so I went back to the music thing.
Who are some of your influences coming up? I mean, I know you mentioned Guns N' Roses and stuff, but I mean, who actually really influenced you?
Well, Guns N' Roses is my favorite band of all time, so Slash is my biggest influence ever as far as music goes. Slash and Zakk Wylde, I'd say, were probably my 2 favorite guitar players, always. And then I always loved Stevie Ray Vaughan. I always loved Richie Sambora. Right now I really love John Mayer's guitar playing. As not cool as that is to say when you're in a metal band,
Yeah,
but, he's such a good blues guitar player, and a lot of people don't realize that because he has bubblegum pop songs, but he's an incredible player. So I'm a more the reason me and Ollie work pretty well together is because I'm very more geared towards rock and the rock and roll guitar players, and Ollie's always grown up with the very, very technical metal guys. So we've always had a nice contrast. If we both have guitar solos on a record, it's very easy to tell which ones are his and which ones are mine because we come from such different backgrounds. So more rock stuff for me, rock and blues stuff for me was always my bigger influences.
I think you're the first one that didn't say Kiss for once.
No, I hate Kiss. And it's so unacceptable to say that, but I cannot stand Kiss.
Well, you had me at Zakk Wylde, man.
Yeah, he's Metallica. You know, I didn't mention Metallica. That's a very cliched answer, but it's a cliche for a reason because those guys are so amazing. And Metallica is definitely one of it. Another huge influence.
Yeah, they're like on a map all to their own, you know.
Yeah, those guys are like the gods. As far you know, you got your like your kings and your princes, and then you got Metallica's like the gods of everything.
What can fans expect out of All That Remains show from you guys?
It's usually very simple, compact. It's usually a very small place, just really loud, really fast, really hot. Just a bunch of loud noises and a bunch of dudes screwing around on stage. We're not one of those bands that take things too seriously, and you're not allowed to smile or anything on stage. You know, we just go up there and have fun. If we feel like joking and making asses out of ourselves, we'll do that too. It's just a lot of noise and a lot of fun.
Hey, you guys have a lot of cool venues coming up, and I'm going to run that by you just a little bit here. You got Rock on the Range that's coming up. I mean, you got Alice in Chains headlining that one, and you have Soundgarden, Smashing Pumpkins. I mean, my God, Volbeat's going to be there, and you guys are going to be playing with Volbeat too on tour. So,
yeah, well, next month we're going out with Volbeat for a month. You know, about a month worth of shows. So, you know, the same thing with back to the influences thing. We mentioned Alice in Chains. You know, Jerry Cantrell's another one. Mm-hmm. Anytime I get to play a show with Alice in Chains, it's like the coolest moment of my life because we did an Australian tour with Alice in Chains, and God, it's just to be on a tour with those guys. I never would have thought that when I was 16 years old. So this got a lot of cool festivals like that coming up. Rock on the Range is like the best. I would say Rock on the Range is the coolest festival in America.
Uh-huh. So when you guys were with Alice in Chains at that time, was this pre-Lane being with them?
No. When Lane was in the band, I was like 14 years old. But,
okay. Not bad.
No, this was 2 or 3 years ago on one of those Soundwave Festival tours in Australia. It was us, Alice in Chains, and God, I forgot who the other headliners were. Just because I was so excited that Alice in Chains was on it, I don't even remember who else was on it.
I really think.
But it was like 50 or 60 bands.
Oh wow, jeez, that's insane.
Yeah, it's 7 stages. It's a massive festival.
Wow, that's crazy. But that's cool you guys got to do that, man. I mean, just to see all the people there, plus and all the bands. I think. Yeah. I think that the guy that is with Alice in Chains right now, I really dig his music with him. He really does a good job for him.
It's unbelievable. Those guys are such cool guys too. You grow up worshiping those guys like they're like larger than life people your whole life. And then when we were in Australia with Mike Inez, the bass player, just came up to the bar at the hotel, and me and a couple of our friends were just sitting around, and he was like, "Oh, hey, can I buy you guys a couple beers?" And we were like, "Yeah." You know, he's the nicest guy in the world. Gives us his phone number. Oh, cool. You know, tells us he'll put us on the guest list if we come around and blah, blah, blah. Super nice guys. So it's really cool to grow up looking up to those people, and then when you meet them finally when you're older, you know, that you find out they're such good people too.
Jeez. Now, you guys kick off your all's tour tonight in Tempe, Arizona, and you guys are with Hell Yeah and Non-Point. Let's talk about those two bands.
Yeah, this is the third show. We kicked it off on Monday. This is the third show.
So how is it so far with playing with Hell Yeah and Non-Point?
It's great because we've toured with both bands already. So when you already know everybody that's going to be on the tour, like the first day, it's just kind of like a fun reunion. We've already know everybody in the bands. It's just good to see everybody again. You know the shows are going to be good, and it's just good. It's cool. It's like a summer spring band camp.
It looks like too you guys are going to be at.
Sorry about that helicopter.
It's okay. It's all right. No problem. It happens, trust me. So it looks like, too, you guys are going to be at Welcome to Rockville. Is this another big, huge festival?
Welcome to Rockville. Where is this at?
This is at Jacksonville, Florida, April 27th.
Oh, yeah, that's another one with, like, Alice in Chains and Limp Bizkit and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be amazing as well. Soundgarden, all those bands. I don't think Soundgarden's on that one, but...
No, not this. Bullet for My Valentine's going to be there. 3 Days Grace, Stone Sour, which, man, Stone Sour, I'd say, puts on one hell of a show, too.
Yeah, all these bands we've played with are all great guys, so it's like every time you show up to one of those festivals, it's basically, it's just you get to see all your friends and you get to play for 10 or 20,000 people. It doesn't suck at all.
Now, is there any new bands that you're listening to right now, Mike, that you like right now?
I just got the new Hatebreed album. I love the new Hatebreed album. Been listening to a band called Stray from the Path. They're kind of more like a hardcore band. I'm really looking forward to the new Killswitch Engage album that's coming out, I think, in a week or two.
Yes. Yeah.
That's about it right now. I've been listening to a lot of that. I go to the gym all the time, and that heavy stuff like that's really good gym music.
When fans leave the show, how would you want them to remember you guys?
Oh, you just want to leave them, just thinking, wow, when they come back around, I'm going to go again. You want to leave a good impression while I'm going to come back. Mm-hmm. We're playing in Tempe tonight. We played here 3 months ago, and the show was amazing. And I heard the ticket sales for tonight are amazing again. So it's like, obviously we left a good impression on the people last time because they're coming back tonight.
Right. I normally ask this question a lot, and a lot of different responses. I'll ask you this as well. What do you think that All That Remains brings to the table for music?
I would say a variety that a lot of bands can't really get away with doing for the most part. We have a lot of, like we said earlier, we got some of the poppier metal songs that go on the radio and do really well. We got some death metal stuff. We have super, super melodic guitar stuff that you would hear like on an In Flames or a Soilwork from like Swedish metal bands. Just a lot of variety that a lot of bands either, can't get away with or just can't figure out how to put together, for it to make sense. So I think the biggest thing with us is a variety that most people don't have.
Mm-hmm. Mike, how can people get a hold of you guys to say, hey, we love your music, and when can we come to see you guys on tour? How can they reach out to you all?
There's Facebook.com/allthatremains, which is everybody in the band actually like individually posts on there. So you can do it that way. Everybody has Twitter accounts. There's an All That Remains headquarters Twitter account, and then everybody has their own individual ones. So yeah, there's a lot of ways. Those are the two main ways. That's the way everybody else does it. So Twitter seems to be the most popular way to talk to people now.
Everyone that's listened to this interview, go get the new album, A War You Cannot Win. They have a new single that's out called Stand Up. I love this band, and I've really been a big fan of them for a long time. So go get it. Get the album.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
No problem. Mike, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. I really appreciate it. And like I said, all respect to you guys, and keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Will you please do a promo for the show before I let you go?
Yeah, no problem.
Just say this is Mike from All That Remains, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Hey, this is Mike from All That Remains, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Thank you, man, so much. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Mike, have a good tour. God bless you. And everybody that's listening to this, stick around. We got some All That Remains coming up. And I want to thank everybody who's out there in the chat room and listening onto the internet. And for my co-host, Jessica Presley, thank you guys. Stick around because you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and Uber City Radio. Later, guys.